welcome to the Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland, formerly of ScorebookLive.com, joined as always by my partner in crime, Dad Rick Cleveland of Mississippi Today fame. Dad, how was your weekend?
Weekend was fine, but the week, yesterday, Monday, and today we're recording on Tuesday. I'm over at a golf resort outside of Ruston, Louisiana called Squire Creek. And let me tell you, buddy, it is splendiferous. It's unbelievable. Although I had probably 6 or 7 3-putts yesterday, the greens were like Augusta. But it's pretty special. So I wish you were here.
Yeah, me too. I would have signed up to go on had I known I would be free. We got some bad news last Thursday about Scorebook Live. Just did a huge round of layoffs around the country. And, hate to get caught up in it, but it's part of the business, as you told me when I went into this line of work. And I was literally like the James Franco meme with the noose, looking at everybody else like, oh, this is your first time? It's going to be all right. So really looking forward to what's next. But, man, the football season just does not stop. We had so much action starting with the high schools Friday night. I know you and I had followed a couple games. I watched Louisville beat Starkville 42-41. Just a big night. Big night for MRA, getting the win over Oak Grove. I watched a lot of football.
Well, Tyler, before we get into that, back to Scorebook Live, you did an unbelievable job in their startup and what you did for covering high school sports in Mississippi. And, I hate to see it happen. Unfortunately, in our business, it's a fact of life. But you'll come back and you'll land on your feet and you'll be better than ever. But I can't let that pass without telling you what a great job you did for Scorebook Live.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, we were, Mississippi was the 4th state that company went into. So I was one of the first on-the-scene reporters that they hired. And I had a lot of fun working for them, especially those first 2 years. We were blowing through coverage money and really, covering the state the way it ought to be covered, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And it's sad it's over, but that's the nature of it. And we'll find a way to bring stories of these high school kids to life one way or the other going forward.
I know you will.
Did you catch any of the MRA Oak Grove game the other night?
Every time I would turn it on my computer, MRA was scoring another touchdown.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. You know how much respect I have for Herbert out at MRA. I think he's one of the best coaches in Mississippi. I was still shocked that they handled Oak Grove that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my big takeaway from that is, I know MRA is a good team. I know Herbert Davis is a great coach. 51-13 that's more than MRA being good. You know what I mean? It's Oak Grove's got some issues they're going to have to work towards. That's, I think they got exposed a little bit against Hattiesburg and MRA. You look at the storyline against Hattiesburg, they couldn't really run the ball, got torched over the top. And you look at that MRA box score, I think MRA threw for over 400 yards and Oak Grove finished with less than 70 yards on the ground.
Yeah. Apparently, MRA has found a quarterback to replace John White. He must be pretty good.
Yeah. John, we're going to get into John White because he got some serious playing time this week for Southern Miss. First, want to look ahead this week a little bit in high school football. They got the Little Egg Bowl, Starkville at Oxford, always fun. Ran into an Eagles fan with an A.J. Brown jersey on at the Superdome Sunday and proceeded to tell him the story of A.J. Brown and D.K. Metcalf going head-to-head in high school. His buddy goes, "Isn't there somebody else from Mississippi on our team?" And I was like, "Yeah, your other best player, Fletcher Cox, but he's it was fun. And the other big games this weekend, Warren Central, who lost by 1 point at Brandon, gets another shot at a big 7A team from the Metro. They host Madison Central. Noxubee County's playing Louisville, who is now the undisputed number one team in the state in my mind. And then another good one down in South Mississippi when Poplarville goes to West Jones, both undefeated.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lineup. Are you going to go to one, or are you going?
I hadn't figured all that out yet. If I did, it would be the Madison Central Warren Central game. That's going to be a pretty good one over there in Vicksburg. I would say I'm interested to see what happens with Noxubee County and Louisville, because that Noxubee quarterback, Camario Taylor, is so good. And Louisville's defense, I mean, Starkville scored 41 points on them. That should be the headline from the game.
Yeah, so there's times they don't give up that much in a season.
They hadn't given up that much to this point, so it was pretty impressive for Starkville. Of course, Louisville found a way to win again. Turning to the college, Dad, Ole Miss just keeps rolling. They're, the number 5 team in the country, beat Georgia Southern 52-13. Did you watch much of that?
I did not get to see much of that. I did not, but I did see all the highlights. It seems like almost every play is a highlight when they're on offense.
I know.
Jackson Dart's just playing at a really, really high level, and God dang, the receiver Harris,
he's incredible.
He's an NFL player, and he's going to make an awful lot of money. He's terrific, and I continue to be really impressed with the way they are up front on both sides of the ball. You look at them come out on the field and look at them line up, and the offensive and defensive lines, they don't look any different than Georgia or Alabama.
Well, I mean, I think NIL has kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, and the portal. If they're going to get one, this may be it. I mean, they look great. I will say this: Georgia Southern's fun to watch. Their offense is, with all the misdirection and the pitches and all that stuff, it's pretty fun to watch. Was not very effective.
Well, I still think they'll be there in the race in the Sun Belt. I mean, they're not a terrible football team.
Yeah. Well, they are. I think they. Yeah. I mean. Although I don't know who's going to win the Sun Belt at this point, just looking at it. And we'll get to that in just a second. I want to get your take on Kentucky. Ole Miss is opened up as a 17.5-point favorite. The over-under on that game is 52.5. I am leaning towards Kentucky against the spread and the under after watching their defense the past couple of weeks. We talked about it after Southern Miss played Kentucky in week 1. That defensive line, and especially number 0.
I mean, he's as good as there is. I mean, Ole Miss, we're going to find out, how good their center and guards are, because that guy is a man. He's terrific. I don't even know his name. Number 0. He's going to be a top 10 draft pick.
We're just going to call him. We're going to call him Agent 0 for now. Kentucky beat Ohio 41-6 last week. But week before that, they lost to Georgia 13-12. They seem to be doing this to everyone that wasn't South Carolina. I know South Carolina kind of game got away from them. But, I mean, their defense apparently is legit. I do think that Ole Miss will probably win the game, don't you?
You said I'll give you that 17.5 for a beer. Let's do that.
Oh, okay. You think they're going to cover?
I think they'll cover. I mean, I think Tyler, I think they're really, really good.
So do I. I mean, I think they belong. I think they're ranked about right. And maybe a little bit higher. We'll see. On to the bad news for Mississippi. The other two teams, Mississippi State and Southern Miss, both kind of took it on the chin. State lost to Florida 45-28, and now finds out they are without their splendid quarterback, Blake Shapen, for the rest of the year. And now they've got –
that's a sad story, because that guy is really a good quarterback.
Oh, I know. Had changed their offense completely. I thought he was, an excellent – candidate. I mean, I know it looks like the Jackson Dart show for Connerly, unless Ole Miss nominates Trey Harris. But I thought, he at least gave them a viable candidate. But here's the thing about State is, they're 1-3, coming off a game they really needed to win over a struggling Florida team, and now you go to number 1 Texas, which is just a tune-up for the next week against number 2 Georgia.
Yeah, you wouldn't wish this on anybody. You wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy. If you want to point to some good news, Mississippi State got an $8 million anonymous donation from one family. And if you read between the lines, what you see that money is to compete in NIL.
Yeah, I don't think you have to read between the lines for that.
Well, they're going to have to, they'll have to at least double that to get where they need to be, or maybe even triple that.
Well, that's
where they need to be.
That's what I was going to ask you: is how much that $8 million does to close whatever gap exists.
Well,
it's $8 million more than they had.
It's $8 million more than they had before. It'll help. It'll help, but it's going to take more than that. And then you got to use it right. Then you got to spend it right. Because some teams aren't spending it right.
Yeah. Well, that's what Saban said. You still got to spend it on the right guys.
Yeah, but it's a good start, and it's let's put it this way: it's the best football news out of Starkville last week for sure.
I'd say so. Down in Hattiesburg, Dad, the guys are licking their wounds. Kind of got run out of the stadium against Jacksonville State Saturday. Lost 44-7. I don't know where they go from here. The good news is they're off this week, so maybe some time to regroup before they host Lafayette on October 5th. Not really sure what to say at this point.
Well, I did watch some of that Saturday, and I can tell you that Rich Rodriguez just kind of schooled Southern Miss, his offense. They didn't know what was coming. It didn't look like they knew what was coming, and if they had any idea, they sure couldn't stop it. So,
yeah.
And here's the thing, and you could go back through every box score that happened just about any weekend of the season, and when you're, what were they, -5 or -6 in turnovers, that's going to happen. You're going to get the bleep kicked out of you when you lose turnovers 5 or 6-0. And that's the biggest story of that game. The other story is that, Tate Rodemaker threw 2 interceptions on their first 3 possessions, and they went with John White. He showed some early promise, and then he turned the ball over several times. But I do think that he has a little bit of the it factor, and I think he's going to be a good player for Southern Miss.
I would agree with you. I would say this. It could be John Elway back there, and if you cannot establish some semblance of a running game or pass block for half a second, whoever's back there is going to struggle.
Yeah, they're getting whipped on both sides of the ball up front. That's all you can say about that.
Real quick before we move on from college football, Dad, I just wanted to get your take on Hugh Freeze. I don't know if you saw his press conference after the 24-14 loss to Arkansas on Saturday. He threw his kids under the bus, and then in a press conference Monday or on a radio show said the fact is that if they played Arkansas 9 more times, that Auburn would win all 9 games.
Well, I disagree totally with that, because I watched some of that game. That wasn't any fluke or anything. Arkansas just beat them. I think the most interesting part of the whole Hugh Freeze thing is Bo Wallace coming out, the former Ole Miss quarterback who played for Freeze, both at Arkansas State and at Ole Miss. Just kind of blasted him.
I saw that. Of course, Bo Wallace does a lot of talking online these days, but for him to come out against his former coach like that, that was pretty interesting.
It's real interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you. But it says something, that he feels so strongly about it. He thought he got thrown under the bus a few times when he was playing for Ole Miss.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you one thing. That guy played as hard as anybody I've ever seen. He really left it all on the field every time out there. He wasn't the most accurate guy in the world, but boy, he played hard.
Well, do you think do you think the preacher man's going to right the ship down there at Auburn?
Tyler, you say a lot of things about him. I've always thought he was a good ball coach. I thought has always been a really good coach, and I don't know. We'll see. It's a whole different world. This whole college football thing is just different, with NIL and the transfer portal. It's a different ball game. And some coaches are handling it a lot better than others. And in Mississippi, well, in the nation, I don't think anybody's handled it better than Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss.
I don't disagree with you. I just think it's interesting. I mean, I know from covering high school ball in Alabama a little bit, every kid that I see that is committed to Auburn is a hoss. I mean, I think he's going to do well in recruiting if they stick with him. But, in this win now era, I don't know how long he'll get.
Auburn's always been able to recruit great talent. But again, the game is different now. It's not all about the high school players you recruit. It's a lot more involved in it now. And if I was going to guess, I'd say he will get it turned around because, as I said, I think he's a good football coach.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Man, I was down in New Orleans on Sunday. I told a buddy outside the stadium that I would know within 2 drives what kind of game we were going to get. And I texted him after the second drive of the game, and I will read it aloud to you now. This is going to be a dogfight. It is going to come down to the last possession. It's going to be a 3 or 7 point game, and I'm not sure we're going to win it.
Yeah, you were right on all counts. And it was the kind of game, you and I talked about it last week. It played out just the way the Eagles wanted to. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They kept the ball away from the Saints. They got a great game out of their running back. And, I didn't know going into the game that Taysom Hill wasn't going to play. That's like losing 3 or 4 players right there because of all the things he does for the Saints. And then on the first drive, they lose the center, who's one of the best players on the team. And his backup was helpless.
Well, I think a lot of teams going to be helpless against that Philadelphia front 4. I mean, they look pretty good. Of course, I don't. But my big takeaway was you take away Taysom Hill and that center, and all of a sudden they look really familiar. Though they look really familiar to me. I mean, that's what the offense looked like the past couple of years. And, I thought Olave played a really good game on the outside. We weren't able to go over the top to Shaheed at all. The defense played great.
Yeah, but they wore out.
Yeah. Well, it was bound to happen eventually. I think the Eagles had outgained the Saints by almost 250 yards when they finally broke through.
Yeah, the score was not any indication of how badly the Eagles beat them up.
Yeah, the turnover difference kept it close.
They were clearly the better team.
Yeah, I will say this: they were without A.J. Brown, so
yeah.
I mean, you say the Saints were missing Taysom Hill. A.J. Brown, a decent player in his own right.
Yeah, he's as good as there is.
Well, they got the Dirty Birds this weekend. How you feeling about that?
Well, can you tell me if Taysom Hill's going to play?
Well, I think he probably will. The official listing on his injury designation was bruised lung. So, hoping that bruise heals up this week.
And what about the center? Have they given an update on him?
He pulled a muscle. Not sure if it was a groin or a hammy or whatever. But, we'll see how he progresses this week. I think he was questionable.
Yeah, it's, people who really know football know how much the center means.
Especially in that league.
He makes all the line calls. He tells you what protection you're in and everything. And they obviously, it's hard to overstate how much they missed him.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna pull any fire alarms yet. If they lose to the Falcons this week, I will probably go into mourning. I'm gonna have to pin all my hopes to the Ole Miss Rebels at that point, because every other team that is associated with this show would not be doing well So anything else, Dad? I know you're getting ready to go out there and tee it off. Anything else you're looking forward to this week?
Well, I'm really looking forward to this Braves-Mets baseball series.
Oh, man, huge series this week. Braves got a chance to kind of close the gap here. I'm holding out hope only because of Chris Sale. I feel like the Braves can win any game that he starts right now. And if he wins a game, that means you just got to get one of those other two to get a series win. I know a sweep would be nice. A win is a must. You got any thoughts?
No, I think the Mets over the last month of the season have been the best team in baseball.
Yeah, I think I'm honestly like, and I see everything through a Braves colored glasses. I think they're cooked. I'm hoping that they're not, but the Mets have looked damn good.
Yeah, the Mets are playing great baseball, but as we have seen in some past years, the Mets have a way of disappearing at the end. So we'll see if they do this year.
Yeah, I saw the Philly fans celebrating yesterday since they finally won the division. That was like, I saw a guy talking about how he's been married, had 2 kids, and divorced since they last. I was like, well, congratulations, boys.
Yeah, the same thing may happen to them that's been happening to the Braves. They may win the division, and the Mets may rain on their parade in the playoffs.
Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch if it does. Dad, that's all the time we got this week. Appreciate everybody listening in, and have a safe week out there, and we will catch you next week.